All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Mic is up. Everything is rolling. Good to see ya. Hello. Oh, I got flop hair. Why am I blurry all of a sudden? Hold on. I have an anti-blurry button, don't I? There we go. That was it. That's all it takes. Just a little moving around. That's all we got to do. All right. Now, does that button work today? No. Why would it? This one does, though. Hi, chat room. Good to see you guys. Welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Hi, Substack. Hello, Instagram. What's going on? Facebook. Twitch. What's happening? YouTube. Hal, you should have DL Hughley on your show. I'd love to have DL Hughley on your show. I've been on his show back in the past. That's entirely possible. Davenport. The only difference between me and Donald Davenport, besides, you know, obviously one being real, one being fiction, is that my ego is bigger than his. So, if you're ever wondering, Hal, what's the difference between you and your character on Lab Rats? It's that the egomaniac that I played on Lab Rats is nowhere near the level of ego that I personally have. Thank you very much. How did Portland get hit with a tsunami? What Portland? Hashtag rip Portland. And of course, let's see. We got a bunch of stuff, and I got my videos are up and running. Yeah, this is good. Let's start with one thing real quick. All right, let me clear something the fuck up. All right, we've been back and forth about people, and they're talking about whether or not the tariffs have had the impact on the economy that people said they were, and the naysayers were all wrong, and blah, blah, blah. And here's what I have to say to you. None of the major tariffs have actually gone into effect at all. All of them have been punted 90 days repeatedly. None of them have been instigated on anything meaningful. On the one hand, most of the tariffs have been punted 90 days, and then they're going to be punted another 90 days, including Mexico, which, by the way, the reason he's doing that is because of the amount of parts that come from Mexico for American cars that is going to fuck the big three, because Japan can bring in cars completely made in Japan with a 15% tariff on them. Meanwhile, American car manufacturers get parts from Mexico or Canada, have to pay 25% on those parts, driving their fucking price up. So that's why the pause. And so any of these motherfuckers who are like, well, I don't know, I guess we were wrong about the tariffs or whatever, none of them have happened yet. And if they have, they're on like 6 slices of fucking cheese and wood paneling. It's nothing. Yes, making billions. You can tell how much useless shit is bought, that there are billions of dollars paid in certain tariffs because people can't get around some of them. But electronics, building materials, all kinds of shit, like, and again, the steel tariffs and stuff like that, we've had those on before. Obama put those on, and Trump just continued them in his first term. They've never really gone away. They just vary a little bit. And that's where the billions in tariffs that on the regular come in are on largely steel, copper, aluminum, and all this kind of stuff. My favorite, holy shit. So I don't know if you know this, but let's see, copper price collapse, I guess. All right. So one of the things, let's see, yeah, here you go. So a lot of people were looking at copper, and they were like, Trump's gonna, this is indicative of like the usefulness of a good or a service versus how much you can get for it by its, you know, the demand supply aspect of it. And when it comes to metal like copper, where you both need it in some cases for pennies and in other cases for wires, increasingly less so, but, you know, big regular housing cable, you need copper wiring in most houses. So you need copper to come in. And the availability of copper is always a thing. Now you can re-scrap and gather copper from, you know, buildings once they're taken down, and there's a big industry for that and whatever. But there were a bunch of people who were like, aha, Trump because is going to put because he wants to protect the copper industry inside the United States, which is fucking non-existent. he's gonna put a huge tariff on copper, and therefore, if we buy a bunch of copper and sit on it in the United States before the tariffs go into effect, we'll be able to sell copper to these motherfuckers at below tariff prices. So a bunch of people started looking at, oh shit, here comes the copper tariff, and they piled it on. So the copper market was through the fucking roof. Everybody was buying copper to sit on it because they thought Trump's going to protect American copper from foreign copper, right? And then he went and excluded it, just like he does every fucking thing else. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the headline. Copper prices collapse by 20% as U.S. excludes refined metal from tariffs. Now, the idea is that's basically the tariff they were expecting. And they're like, and the article about it, as far as the use, let's see if they're, yeah, here you go. Look at that shit. Wapow. But there was I think it was the Bloomberg article where they're like, all these, the amount of copper bought and sold in the markets and stuff had seen a rise in volatility and blah, blah, blah lately, but it crashed when things went back to normal, meaning that there wasn't really any kind of a copper tariff before, and now there still isn't. And all it did was create this bullshit inflated copper bubble, this temporary copper bubble that could burst and fuck a bunch of people into a cocked hat. Now, anybody who's like hoarding materials in a situation like this, I get it. Yes, now do orange juice, exactly. Turn those machines back on. Sell. Yeah, did we learn nothing from trading places? So what does this mean for the penny? Nothing. They're going to discontinue it still. But the point is that, and I don't think it's wrong to say, like, I think a bunch of people were like, hey, if he's going to do this, you could make money doing this. So let's buy some early and we'll take the risk. And they did. And then they got fucked because ultimately what happened? Taco. Trump always chickens out. That's what happened. Everybody went, what the fuck are you doing? We have to have copper or we can't build buildings, and you got wiring, everything is electric. You dumb motherfucker. You can't raise the price of copper 25 fucking percent. Are you out of your goddamn mind? And he was like, okay, never mind. And it pulled the rug out from under these motherfuckers. And I guess they should have known this is, and by the way, most of this probably started before the taco trades began. And the entire, everybody's like, the stock market's doing great. You know why? Because the stock market has learned to ignore this dumbass. And they are just stacking on top of anybody that doesn't get how this play works. They're just sitting on top of like, all right, everybody's going to fucking bail. And the stocks are still worth what they're worth. This motherfucker's not going to do anything. Electronics, like all the big electronic stocks, all this kind of, they're not going anywhere. Just sit on them. And if some dumbass freaks out and sells, just buy theirs. So the whole market's been tipping up based on the idea that Trump fucking always chickens out. And the money that's being made largely in the stock market is the regular progressive move of business in general that always kind of moves like the market, no matter what, it's always going up. And that's the lesson learned, that whether it's true or not, and whether you need liquid in your life is another thing entirely as far as money and its availability. But in general, if you look at the stock market, it's always kind of on its trajectory no matter what, because it's the volume of business and the population and the amount of things and the expense of the things that we come to expect in our lives makes it kind of hum up. And even if businesses disappear, new ones are created and yada, yada. And that's going to keep going. And a bunch of people like, again, the long-term investors, right? Just sit on and hang out. Wait, clear out all the dipshits. That's it. There you go. And by the way, this is going to happen to a bunch of things. Especially around the midterms, if any of this even is implemented. Like I said, he punted the fucking Mexico tariffs 90 more days. August 1st is right around the goddamn corner. It's 2 days away, or a day away. It's tomorrow. Shit. And like, you never have one of those days where, it's all day Wednesday, you're thinking it's August already. Anyways, he has to pull all these fucking things back. Because everybody around him is like, oh yeah, tariffs, fucking kick-ass tariffs. Do it, man. And then they're like, the prices are going to what? And then they like, hey, you might want to pull that back. And he does. He just punts on all of it. So all these people are saying the tariffs worked and we haven't lost any money and we're taking in billions. Okay, first of all, we always take in billions because we're always doing it on steel and other stuff. We were losing trillions until everybody figured out that he tacos. Here's Larry Bourbon Kudlow on the Big Money Show. Let's see. Gonna cry. There's been a new and an illegal 50% steel, aluminum, and unfinished copper, including lumber, chewing wire. It was on the U.S. It depends upon it. Hal's very wrong about the tariffs on what? Sorry, on Canada. The U.S. will be paying the tariff, including businesses. So no. What I'm talking about is the consumer tariffs have not gone into place. On the building materials, he's doing carve-outs all over the place. And every time they start to build up where they're like, oh shit, it's going to drive the price up, he starts backing down. There are a couple of areas where they're trying to fuck Canadian businesses, no question. But like the Mexico tariff punting for 90 days is another example. These full tariffs have not gone into place. Some of them are making prices go up. Some of them, the expectation is making the price go up. And then some of them, they're just going to go, all right, well, we'll deal with that if it ever shows. And then they're lobbying the fuck out of the White House. It's garbage. The whole thing is nonsense. That's why it's all volatility within the real world right now. And if he keeps punting these things, at some point he's going to have to shit or get out the pot. It's probably going to be this fall, which means they're going to go into effect right around Christmas. And then everybody's going to get fucking mad. And he's going to have to hold the line because he's a belligerent dickhead. And then there's a window where they have like probably, 4 months in the beginning of next year before it starts to like snowball towards the election, towards the midterms, where the prices are going to start snowballing, and they have to rescind that shit early. You have to repeal the tariffs and that kind of stuff to make the prices go down closer to the midterms. And if they miss that fucking window, it's like that asteroid that they're talking about heading towards Earth. That's going to be here in 2036. That if it's outside the atmosphere, it will bounce off the Earth's atmosphere. If it's inside the atmosphere too much, it'll burn up. But there's a keyhole of about 500 feet, and if it goes through that, it's going to hit the ocean and create a tsunami that wipes out Santa Monica. We've been hearing about that one for a long time. That's the keyhole. They have this fucking window where they're going to be able to repeal this shit, and if they don't, like the prices are just going to start snowballing because the cost will stack upon the cost, because it's not just the thing itself. If you're buying a good from another country and selling it, that's one thing. But if you've got something you make here, if you're a manufacturer in the United States and your thing has 4 fucking parts from all over the world and there's a different tariff on each one, one's 20%, one's 25%, one's from China, it's 100% because he's pissed about Russian oil or some shit like that. Your thing, it would be cheaper to buy the whole thing from outside the country. This is how fucking stupid this shit is. That drives me fucking crazy. So understand this. Is a widget, whatever the fuck it is. And you can make that widget here, and it's got a bunch of parts. It's got a circuit board in it. It's got some plastic parts. It's got a lever. It's got a couple other things. It's got a gyro in it or something. And of that, you buy the gyro from Eastern Europe because they make a lot of airplane parts and that kind of shit over there. And then you buy the plastic stuff from a fabricating company in Mexico because it's cheaper, and or you make it here in the United States. That's the part you can make because there's a lovely little plant. I think it's in Pasadena that makes plastic parts. And then the circuit board you get from China, right? Okay. If you take those pieces. You get the circuit board, you're paying 100% tariff or 80% tariff or some shit, or there's a carve out for it, but it doesn't fit the carve out, so you're paying somewhere in the middle and it's all over the fucking map. And you take that piece and you're paying extra, you're paying 100% on that one, 100% tariff on that. And you're paying, 25% on the gyro, and you're paying, 20% on the lever that's in it. And then you make the part here, and you still pay taxes on that because it's not, you're not building a factory to make your own plastic parts. You're buying it from another company. So you're just buying something. You're buying a wholesale tax. You're paying a wholesale tax on that, which you may be able to write off later, but it's an expense at the time. So you got like 4 of these parts that is driving up the price of your little widget 4 ways to fucking Sunday. If you just bought the whole thing from one place, Mexico, let's say, you'd only be paying 20%. Even if it's a Chinese factory in Mexico, you'd be paying less than if you bought the parts and assembled it here. And again, I'm operating on the assumption that at this point, there is no way for you to get the parts you need here. And if somebody's going to make a factory where you can get the circuit board or get the lever or get the gyro or whatever you're making, it's going to take them 3 to 4 years to get up and running to where the price of their thing is anywhere near, a wholesale price for something. And that's if there's a demand inside the United States to volume with the rest of the world. It's so fucking stupid. The Japanese deal is one of the most miraculous examples of how fucking stupid this is. You can bring a whole car from Japan in for, 15% tariff. And if you build a car in the United States with parts that you cannot get from inside the United States, you have to get them outside, you're paying 30, 40% tariffs on the building of that thing, driving the price up. So the Japanese car, wholly made in another country, will be more expensive than the car built in the United States because you can't get all the parts inside the country. Because the car counts as one thing. Whereas a car built in the United States has 12 things or 30 things that you have to get from it. It is so, and again, this is, you guys know, this is the thing that makes me hate, smart people movies made by dumb people. That they don't think any of this shit through. And there's this like violent opposition to complexity. Like if a bill has a lot of language in it, or a treaty has a lot of language in it, or or there's a lot of details, they're like, ugh. Why doesn't anyone in Congress push back? They are. But the ones that are pushing back are Democrats who are completely out of power. Thanks, in large part, to us. So the Chinese car would be more expensive. Yes, I did. The Japanese car would be cheaper. The Chinese parts would be more expensive. So, yes, I guess I did misspeak, if that's what I said. So, you guys get the point? Okay. Now, let's see what this dickhead is saying. I'm in a mood.